Thank you for tuning into my presentation. My name is Amy Sullivan, and I will be discussing medical record keeping for kittens in foster care. The organization that I have chosen to highlight is Orange County Animal Services, also known as OCAS. OCAS is a large municipal shelter in Orange County, Florida. This means that they are open in mission and unable to turn away animals that were found within the county. For reference, Orange County has a population of about 1.5 million residents and takes in about 18,000 animals each year, dogs and cats. Many of these animals are underage kittens, sometimes puppies. Animals cannot go up for adoption or be spayed and neutered until they are 8 weeks old in Orange County. The SOP topic that I have chosen is medical record keeping for kittens in foster care. This falls under the shelter management and record keeping category. Many underage animals are taken in at the shelter and they need to go to foster care until they can be adopted, as they cannot remain in the shelter environment. This SOP is important as it creates a way to keep track of animals in the foster system and keep records of their conditions. They're not physically at the shelter for staff to be able to see, so we need to document how they are doing. The shelter's policy is Orange County Animal Services requires animals that are younger than 8 weeks old to be placed in foster care. Foster coordinators will work with foster parents and clinic staff to ensure animal health and welfare is documented properly. The purpose of the SOP is to ensure animal health and welfare for foster kittens who are not at the shelter by ensuring that their conditions are documented and they remain up to date on veterinary checks. The SOP affects the foster coordinator, the clinic staff, the administrative assistant, and the foster parents. OCAS has more than 400 foster parents who they oversee. The foster coordinator is responsible for keeping track of animals in foster care, keeping in touch with foster parents to get updates about the animals using the foster form twice a week, and recording updates into the shelter software system, Chameleon. The foster coordinator will reach out to foster parents via email twice a week to get updates from the foster form, which is a document that we will use to monitor important health concerns in foster kittens. The foster coordinator will then enter the data into Chameleon so it is in the animal's records. This is especially important to do because the animals are not at the shelter with staff to check in with, so we need to make sure that they are thriving in foster care. When the foster pet is ready to come back for adoption and spay and neuter, the foster coordinator will reach out to the foster parent to let them know. Because we're keeping close tabs on the animals in foster care, we will be able to get them back for adoption promptly when they are ready. The administrative assistant helps with data entry into Chameleon when needed. This may mean entering data for the foster coordinator or the clinic team if they are not available to do so themselves. If this needs to happen, the clinic team or foster coordinator will let the assistant know. The foster parents are responsible for sending in updates about the foster pets twice a week. They email this form to the foster coordinator using the foster form, which includes valuable health information about the foster pet that needs to be documented. This helps shelter staff know if there are any concerns that need to be addressed, particularly about the animal's health. If there are, the foster coordinator will make the clinic staff aware and let the foster parent know to schedule an in-person clinic recheck. Foster parents can do this online using a website called Waitwhile. The clinic team is responsible for performing routine in-person rechecks for foster animals at minimum every 2 weeks or more often if needed due to medical concerns. This includes prescribing medication when needed, giving their routine vaccines and dewormers every 2 weeks, and entering data from these rechecks into Chameleon. Here is an example of the foster form that the foster coordinator sends to foster parents, and foster parents fill out twice a week and email back in. It includes the animal's weight, which gets updated into Chameleon every time a form is sent in. It also asks about common medical concerns, which can give the foster coordinator an idea on if they need to bring the foster pet into the clinic sooner for a recheck, and they can also document this into Chameleon. How will the SOP be implemented? There are a few important steps we need to take. First, there will be a meeting involving staff directly involved in the SOP. This is the clinic manager and veterinarians, foster coordinator, and administrative assistant. They will meet to review the SOP, ask any questions about it, and discuss responsibilities. The foster coordinator will then send an email to all the foster parents, making them aware of their responsibilities. The clinic manager will make sure the veterinary technicians are notified of their responsibility, which is entering records from the clinic rechecks into Chameleon. After this initial meeting, a shelter-wide training will be offered to review the SOP with all shelter staff so they're familiar with the policies. This will be a lunch and learn where the responsibilities are outlined and record-keeping policies are explained. Additionally, the foster coordinator will provide one-on-one shadowing opportunities for those who may cover in their absence, so others are aware of how to keep correct documentation. The SOP will take effect on January 1st, 2024, so training will begin in November 2023 and conclude in December 2023, so everyone is prepared before the SOP takes effect. The foster coordinator has a report called the foster inventory that can be pulled up from Chameleon. This allows them to see all the animals in foster care and which foster parents have them. The foster coordinator will check each animal's record to make sure it is updated twice a week. They can check on Friday. If an entry is missing, they will need to contact the foster parent as soon as possible to get the foster animal's updated information and add it into the system. This report helps the foster coordinator ensure that foster parents are sending updates on time. If a foster parent is late on a recheck, the data will show up as red on the report, and that makes it easier for the foster coordinator to catch. The foster coordinator supervisor will check the inventory to make sure the foster coordinator is in fact updating each animal's records twice a week. The clinic supervisor will be checking the foster inventory report to make sure that the techs and vets are updating animal records as well. There should be at least one entry every 2 weeks for each animal from the clinic team. Because the techs are entering records from veterinary rechecks daily, they will also be looking for entries twice a week from the foster coordinator in the animal's record. These entries, A, give the clinic team some background knowledge on how the animal was doing prior to the clinic recheck, and B, if they notice that entries are missing from the foster coordinator, clinic staff can notify the foster coordinators. This serves as a checks and balance by having multiple people check the records to ensure that each person is doing what they should be. The foster coordinator should be updating records twice a week on Monday and Thursdays. Managers can check in on Fridays, and the foster coordinator can also double check on Fridays to make sure that there are 2 recent updates or more for each week. The clinic staff performs veterinary rechecks 7 days a week, so they will be entering records each day for different animals. The foster coordinator runs the foster inventory report twice a week, and this also allows them to make sure that foster parents are not overdue for check-ins or in-person appointments. The SOP will be implemented on January 1st, 2024. There will be a meeting among the foster coordinator, veterinarians, and veterinary manager and administrative assistant after 3 months of practicing the SOP to review how it is going and suggest any changes. This meeting will be in April after 3 full months of practicing the SOP. The foster coordinator will send an email survey to the foster parents ahead of time to get their input, and their input will also be discussed at the meeting. If any recent changes need to be added, they will be updated to the SOP at that time. The foster coordinator will notify foster parents of any changes that they need to adhere to, and the veterinary manager will notify the clinic techs of any changes. Staff will meet again after 3 more months to discuss how everything is going and make any final updates. After that, the SOP will be reviewed and updated once a year in accordance with any major shelter changes or updated medical policies. As things change in the industry, it is important to make sure we're updating our policies as well. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope this provides useful ideas about how to keep track of medical records for animals in foster care.